And we progressed it.
Dr. Parmjit Parmar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to speak in the second reading of the Parental Leave and Employment Protection 6 months paid leave and work contact hours amendment bill on the name of Sue Moroni. Mr. Speaker, this bill is to extend the period of paid parental leave to 26 weeks and have work contact hours for parents, those who are on parental leave. And this bill proposes that it should be done in 2 stages. The first stage being increasing to 22 weeks from 1st of April 2017 and then increasing to 26 weeks from 1st of April 2018. Mr. Speaker, this bill was considered by the Government Administration Select Committee, and I'm not a member on that Select Committee, but I understand that the Select Committee recommended that the work contact hours provision be removed from this bill for a simple reason, and the reason is that this national government, has already provided for keeping in touch hours. And I can see, Mr. Speaker, that this bill is driven by the importance of bonding and various other factors that the member has listed before. But, Mr. Speaker, we have increased the paid parental leave already from 14 weeks to 16 weeks last year, and then we have increased it from 16 weeks to 18 weeks this year. So when we amended the Principal Act, it wasn't about the length of paid parental leave. We also looked at making this whole scheme modern and practical. So what we did, Mr. Speaker, is we widened the eligibility criteria for people, those who can avail this entitlement. Casual workers, seasonal contract workers, and employees, those who work for more than one employer, can be now entitled for paid parental leave. We also increased the kind of care that is entitled for paid parental leave. We introduced the concept of primary carer. And with that, people, without going through the process of formal adoption, they can look after a child, can have a paid parental leave if they are eligible. And number 3, Mr. Speaker, which is very important, is that eligible parents of preterm babies can be eligible for longer paid parental leave depending on when the premature baby is born. So the gestation period is 37 weeks. If a baby is born before 37 weeks, so the mom receives or parent receives weekly payments for that many weeks, depending on how early the preterm baby is born. For example, if a baby is born at 27 weeks, then the parent will receive payment for additional 10 weeks, making it total of 28 weeks. So with the current 18 weeks paid parental leave, Mr. Speaker, we are in line with the OECD average. Having a child can change a lot of things in a family, and having a preterm child actually can bring more changes in the family. It can create more mental and physical strain because it's looking after that child in the first few days and weeks from distance. Generally speaking, Mr. Chair, preterm babies are kept in medical care before they are sent with the family. We also increased parental tax credit. We increased that from $150 to $220. We extended the period for that from 8 weeks to 10 weeks. So with giving more parental tax credit, with extending paid parental leave, making more people eligible, what we did is we provided choice to people. It's about providing choices. So this scheme that we have introduced, this national government, is about giving more access, is about flexibility. Because looking at the family structures, how they are changing, how the family needs are changing, their work needs are changing, it's really important that we are able to cater for all that. Mr. Speaker, we are committed to supporting our children so that they can have best possible start in their life. We recognize that families and employees, they have to plan their personal and financial lives. And on the other hand, businesses should be flexible to adapt changing demands. And we also want to see that parents are able to stay in touch with the labor market. And this is not just for the wider economic and social good, but it's good for them too. And every parent, they go through different experiences. So I don't think it's fair to generalize those experiences. I actually want to share one of my experiences, Mr. Speaker. When I started leaving my child in a daycare center to go back, I did feel guilty about it. Yes, it's not easy, and it's not easy for any parent to leave their child in a daycare center to go back to education or work, no matter what the age of the child is. And moreover, people also frown at moms, new moms, those who decide to leave their child in a daycare center to go back to education or work. It's about making new moms guilty about leaving their child in a daycare center to go back to study or work. Mr. Speaker, I strongly feel that that needs to be stopped. We want a society which is equal for men and women. We want to see that women have equal opportunities as men. They have access to education, work, as and when they require. We want to close the gender gap. So, Mr. Speaker, I do not support any ideas that promote a segregation of women just because of their biological makeup. Mr. Speaker, a lot of research has been done, and members opposite have spoken about research that they are using to support their argument. But in research, the important thing is that the outcome of any research will depend on the question that you ask in that research. So I want to ask, why stop at 26 weeks? Why not make it 16 years? Because parenting is a long-term commitment, and parents ideally should be there to support their child to go through their childhood to get into adulthood. And talking about research, Mr. Speaker, I want to talk about one research. This study is led by New York's Columbia University School of Social Work, published by the Society for Research in Child Development, the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development study of early child care, followed more than 1,000 children. So it's a very healthy sample size, 1,000 children. These children were from 10 different geographical areas up to the age of 7. They followed their family circumstances, and they followed their development. And what they found in that research is that, yes, there are some downsides to moms getting to work within few months of their child is born. But overall, the advantages are more than downsides. And the advantages include increased income and overall well-being of mom. So, Mr. Speaker, in this research, what they finally concluded is that the net effect is neutral. So the net effect is neutral because we need to look at the full picture. We can't just pick 1 or 2 points and debate this. We need to look at the full picture. It's about the overall outcomes for the child and for the mother, and the overall effect that they found in this research is neutral. And the research also recognized that parenting is a big thing. The researcher also recognized that it's important for working mothers to be sensitive to their child's needs. It's about when they get back from their work, it's important that they leave their work before they get in the door so that they can give full attention to their child. So it's about having that quality time to have that bonding with their child. It's about being sensitive to the child's needs. It's no point someone staying with their child 24 hours, 7 days, but is not attentive to the child. It's not going to give any benefits for mom or their child. So, Mr. Speaker, I spoke about this research because I don't want new moms to feel guilty about getting back to work. Given the work that we have already done in this space, I oppose this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those that have that opinion will say aye. Contrary opinion will say no. The ayes have it. A party vote is called for. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
Opposed.
New Zealand Labour.
32 votes in favour.
Green Party.
14 votes in favour.
New Zealand First. Maori Party,
2 votes in favour.
ACT New Zealand,
1 opposed.
United Future.
In favour.
The ayes are 61, the noes are 60. The bill will be read a second time.
Point of order, Mr
Youth
Speaker.
Unemployment Protection 6 months paid leave amendment bill. Second read.
This bill is set down for committee stage next sitting day.
Speaker.
Carmel Sepuloni.
I seek leave to rise early for dinner break so that the first speech of the next bill can go uninterrupted.
Just following the last bill, the member's not being ironic, is she?
No.
No. All right. Is there any objection? There appears to be none. The House stands adjourned until, for the dinner break till 7:30.